Hello, Internet. My name's Luke. I have a story to tell. So I just got back from Best Buy. Hopefully, I never want to walk into a Best Buy like ever again, but I'm probably gonna have to. But I've literally said that like 4 times, so I guess I'm just lying to myself at this point. So this is gonna be an unedited rant video about my experience with Best Buy and their insurance plans and their customer service, both of which are in the lacking departments. I'll try not to use too much profanity, but I am very, very, very salty right now. Like, if the power scale is like 10, I'm like over 9,000. That's how mad I am. So, it all started around October 15th, I think. So, I got my computer 3 years ago around October 15th. I think it was like probably 2013. Yeah, mid-October 2013. Doesn't matter. So, I got this ridiculous computer. It was one of those weird, like, foldable ones that does, like, this thing. Because this is what you want for a computer, you know? Surf the web like this, so you can just, you know, tap things and hold your 10-pound tablet. The graphics card. It's exactly what you want. Oh shit, there's a CD in here. I should probably take that out. Ooh. Okay, let's do that. Anyway, so, I got this laptop, right? Pretty great laptop. It's worked for a while. It's worked great. I dropped it once outside my college. Once. I dropped it right on the corner. It had some, like, dented and damage right here or whatever. Obviously, you could tell that it's not damaged now, but I'll get to that. So, I take it into Best Buy. Because I bought a almost $400 plan 3 years ago. That's a repair for, like, anything plan. So you drop water on it, whatever. It gets damaged, it gets repaired. Within reason. You can't run it over with your car outside and then bring it in. Apparently that's happened before. Which is kind of hilarious. So, I get this computer, right? It's got like 2 gigs of DDR3 RAM. Or 8 gigs of DDR3 RAM, and then like, I don't know, it's got like a 2 gig NVIDIA graphics card. It's like an 840M. Anyway, it's worked fine. It plays Overwatch, it does what you want it to do. That's not the problem here. This computer I don't have that much of a problem with. But I go into Best Buy to get it like fixed, right? And the dude at the front tells me, oh yeah, we also have this policy where if there's enough damage on it, it gets junked out. So they just toss the computer, right? And then if they toss the computer, they credit you back the money you paid for it, or some percentage of it. I was like, wow, that's great! Now I can get a brand new computer, because this one's has like a ton of damage on it, because like one of the USB ports didn't work, and like, the screen was like split open right here. Like the screen was hanging off of here, like this was all separated. And this was dented in, one of the speakers didn't work. There's a lot of damage on this thing, right? I only dropped it once, but there's a lot of damage. Okay, so I bring it in to get fixed. It comes back, right? They didn't junk it out, even though I was assured it was going to. Apparently I was lied to, because the amount of times they should have junked this computer out by now is like, it's like 7. It's like 7 times. It's a lot. So, I get this computer back, right? Case is still dented in, screen's hanging off, one of the speakers doesn't work. But get this, they replaced the motherboard, the graphics card, which is soldered to the motherboard, so I guess that's part of it. They replaced the battery, part of the screen, the speakers. They replaced, like, the whole inside of this computer. But because they didn't want to junk the computer out, they didn't replace the outside. So, I mean, like, literally, like, the screen was hanging off. It was ridiculous. So, the manager goes, oh, that's ridiculous. Let's set it out again. So I'm like, okay, I really couldn't not have a computer for another, like, 2 to 3 weeks. Because that's how long it took them to send it out, gut this thing, put a new motherboard in it, bring it back, right? Send it back. Because it goes all the way to, like, Kentucky, I think. To their, like, Geek Squad Center. Repair Center, whatever. So, it gets sent out. Takes another, like, 3 weeks. Comes back, like, I think, I don't know, like, December 14th. It was, like, the day before my birthday, right? The computer comes back, and I'm like, golly gee, they have to junk it out by now, because it's been sent out already, and they didn't fix it again. They got the whole computer again. replace the screen and the case. So this is like a brand new computer. So I was like, it's ridiculous they didn't junk it out, right? Because that's stupid. But they didn't. Whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'll just take the computer and run. I take it home and load up. First of all, it loaded into 8.1. So they didn't upgrade it to Windows 10 for some weird reason. Because I gave it to them with Windows 10. So it's a stock motherboard. So then I get it back. It has Windows 8, right? By the way, you can't get a free copy of Windows 10 anymore. You have to buy it. It's just a whole other problem. So I downgraded my computer, right? I boot up Overwatch on this thing, right? And it looks like Mudwatch. Because it's running at like 240p. Because it's running the integrated graphics on here. Through the Intel chip. Instead of the GPU on here by NVIDIA. So I'm like, well, that's interesting. Because it's not like it's plugged in wrong. Because it's soldered to the board. So I proceed to scream at the top of my lungs right here in this room. And then take it to Best Buy. So then I roll it to Best Buy and I'm like, hey, so this computer doesn't have a graphics card in it? Or it's broken? They go, well, that doesn't sound right. So they take it in the back for like 5 hours, right? I'm pacing the store at this point because I'm so frustrated. Because I had a computer for a month now, right? It's been a month. So I'm pacing back and forth. I'm obviously like, I'm probably disrupting customers at this point, which I felt bad about. I shouldn't have anxiety and feel bad about going to Best Buy because they messed up my computer, right? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's reasonable. So I go in to the Best Buy, right? And I'm like pacing, and the security guard comes over to me. He's like, hey man, I'm gonna need you to stop throwing the keys in the air and like doing this with your hands and like pacing because you're scaring people. And I explain to him what's going on, and he's like, look, I understand, but like I don't want to get the cops involved or anything. And at that point, I'm like, are you kidding me? So apparently the manager like he got upset that I was like pacing and like I was throwing my keys in the air and catching them because like I have ADHD. When I'm really agitated, like I have to do things with my hands so I don't scream. Because I already did that earlier. So I go and I just sit down. I play my 3DS. I'm playing Animal Crossing because the new update just came out, right? So I'm playing Animal Crossing and brewing, right? I sit there for like 3 hours. The guy comes out. He's like, we can't get it to work. So I'm like, oh, that's great. Can't get the computer to work. Which I already knew. So he goes, I want to upgrade this thing all the way to Windows 10, right? And I was like, that's not going to help. I don't think it's software. I think it's hardware. Because if it doesn't work on Windows 8, it's not going to work on Windows 10. That doesn't make any sense. But he said it's protocol, so I was like, you know what? That's fine. I went, it was my 21st birthday. So I went to a sushi restaurant, and I got my first draft. It was a Yingling. It was great. So I went and I got my Yingling, and I went home. I call up the next day because no one's called me, right? And I'll talk about all the customer service stuff after this because that's even more hilarious. But I call up and I'm like, hey, what's going on with my computer? They're like, oh, yeah, it's done. Come in. I was like, why didn't anyone contact me? They were like, oh, I don't think anyone got a chance. This was at like 5 o'clock. So this was already late in the day. So if I remember this correctly, if I get anything wrong in this, I don't mean to. I'm just very, 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 I'm not even mad anymore. I'm disappointed. I'm like a parent who's, you're not mad at your kid for failing his class, you're disappointed in him. Right? So I'm very disappointed at this point. I go back in, and they go, oh, well, it's not working, we're gonna have to send the computer again. At this point, I'm just like, why haven't you drunk this out yet? Why do we have to send this out again? I'm not sending this computer out for the third time. Fourth time, really, because they took it in the store for like 2 days to try to fix this thing, which they knew they couldn't do. But they did it anyway. Because the graphics card in here is soldered to the board. Which means it's a faulty board. Which now I have proof of. I'll get to that later as well. Right? So, I just say screw it. I talk to a guy in another department. He goes, call up 1-800-BEST BUY. Which I've already done multiple times. I'm about to talk about that. And see if you can get somebody to escalate your situation, right? Because this is beyond ridiculous at this point. Escalate the situation. You'll be able to talk to someone from corporate. They'll be able to override all this ridiculous stuff that's happened. They'll junk the computer out, help you out, do what you need to do, right? Because let's be straight. If this was Amazon, like I bought stuff with Amazon, right? I bought a boxed copy of a couple Pokemon games, right? Because they were cheap and I wanted them. Because I have a huge video game collection over here, right? So I get the copy, right? And it's a bootleg Ruby version. So I report it to them, and they don't say send it back to the seller and they'll refund you. They go, keep it, because it worked, but it was bootleg. Like, I know when games are bootleg. They say keep the game. They paid for me to get a new one, and then they also refunded me the money. And then they banned the guy that did that off of Amazon, so he couldn't sell stuff anymore. So, like, I came out ahead because they wanted to keep my business, because Amazon's a great company with great customer service, right? So, like, I was expecting something like that to happen with Best Buy, but no, that's never gonna happen. So, okay, I'm gonna start. I know I'm getting kind of off topic, but I'm gonna start talking about the customer service stuff. So the first time I called up 1-800 Best Buy or 1-800 Geek Squad, I called up because I wasn't getting any information on the update of my computer, because I was wondering if it was gonna get junked out, right? Because they don't update the service page. They don't tell you what parts that they're repairing. They don't tell you what's going on with your computer, what the process is. Literally, all you get is, we sent your computer to the facility. Your computer's being repaired. It's been assigned to an associate. The associate has completed the process. It is being sent back, right? So I figured, like, I would want to know if it was getting junked out, because I was straight up told it was going to get junked out, right? So I call up, no one give me any answers. Blah, blah, blah. I get the computer back. I call up again, right? When it comes to, like, the drop damage, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Somebody help me. They escalate the situation again. Somebody from corporate's supposed to call you within 2 days. No one calls me. Now, I've escalated this 6 times. I counted with one of the guys over the phone, because I called up yesterday, right? And I go over the phone, and I'm like, hey, how many times have I escalated this? He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. He had to weed through the 15 pages of notes they have on, like, my case file, which is, it's basically a case file at this point. For all the notes people have written from me calling up and wondering what's going on with my computer, right? So, like, I've literally escalated this 15 times, and no one from corporate has ever contacted me. If any human being saw what was going on with this, they would have, like, just, they would have let me smash this computer with a hammer and given me a new one. But I guess Geek Squad's corporate greed is so huge that they don't want to, like, they can't do that. They can't be pro-consumer. Or I'm just some crazy, like, crypt case that this is like a 1 in a million thing, right? So I go in, right? I go in the second time after they and to try to get some resolution out of having the computer, the GPU not working, because they tried to fix it. They go, we have to sit out. I'm like, I can't send this computer out because I have finals, right? And we use our computers in class to, like, take notes and stuff. And I already haven't had a computer for a month now. Besides the fact that I can't play any games I want to play either. You know, like, I play a bunch of PC games. You can't play PC games without a graphics card or a computer. So I'm like, look, I need to rectify this junk computer. He goes, I can't do that. But here's what he can do. He can give me a discount on this cyber power PC. So instead of fixing my computer or junking this computer out, he sells me another computer. So now I have this sitting under my desk. I'm not going to pull it out because it's plugged in right now. They sent me another computer. He gave me a really good discount on it, right? But I'm going to end up returning this thing. This is just so I can play Overwatch and keep my sanity, right? Because so it doesn't look like Mudwatch. But I bought another computer with Best Buy because they can't fix my computer, right? Ah! Shit. So, anyway, so, now I have this thing. It works pretty good. It's like a halfway decent gaming PC. He gave me like a half off discount on it. It was very nice of him. But that doesn't solve anything because I'm returning this computer because I don't need a rig right now. I'm filming this on a brand new Mac. I don't need a desktop computer. I've been using this thing for any basic gaming stuff I want to do, right? I think that makes sense. So I'm like, okay, I have this thing now, right? Whatever. I'll have it for the next couple weeks. I can't send this computer out yet because I have finals, right? Okay, so I boot the computer up today, right? I boot this stupid thing up, right? It's probably still loaded up. There we go. Oh, this computer. It's still loaded to bestbuy.com, actually. Huh. So it's loaded in Secure Boot. If you don't know what Secure Boot is this fancy thing that Best Buy uses so they don't go into your personal files, right? Because when they looked, because they figured it didn't have drivers on it, right? I already checked all that, but it wasn't recognizing it in the control panel or anything, or in the devices. It wasn't recognizing the graphics card. So then when they went to check this, they looked through the drivers, they tried to install new drivers. They said they updated to Windows 10, but they didn't. That was just a straight up lie. They just didn't update it to Windows 10. I was told leaving the store that it was updated all the way to Windows 10. They just didn't. So it's on Windows 8. So I downgraded from Windows 10 to Windows 8, and it doesn't have a graphics card in it. So it works less than it did when I turned it in broken, which is kind of hilarious. So this thing can't connect to the internet now, right? They take it off Secure Boot, right, to load it into the default operating system, which I figured would be my stuff, because I already loaded some of my stuff back on here, right? Because I had to have my entire computer flashed onto another, into an SSD, right? Because I had to keep all my stuff. So I loaded it onto an SSD. I load that back on here. That's all deleted now. So the stuff that wasn't supposed to get deleted, that they told me wasn't going to get deleted because they were loading it in a different operating system. It was their own, like, Secure Boot thing that can't connect to the internet. They can't look through any of my personal files or anything, although they probably still could. Yeah, they never took that off. So, what? Okay. Oh, so many problems with this thing. So, this is the background. I still think it's loaded in Secure Boot. He defaulted it. Apparently my hard drive got wiped somehow. They don't know how that happened either. So, it can't connect to the internet, and I have a test tomorrow, right? And I need this in class to do my test, because it's on My Math Lab, which is a web program where you input your answers, right? So, the guy goes, oh, it'll be fine, I got this. We'll just sell you a Netgear wireless adapter so you can connect to the internet. Is Best Buy's only option of fixing things piling on more expenses? Like, I don't understand. Then I'm like, no, I'm not paying for that. So the manager goes, oh, well, you know, as a courtesy service to you, we'll just give this to you. So they give me this Netgear thing, which, by the way, is the worst one that they have, right? And I shouldn't need this thing, because the Wi-Fi card that's soldered to the board should just work. See, what I think happened is the guy at the repair center dropped the motherboard, and then he installed it anyway. Cause you got, nothing's working on this thing. It's crazy. So now I have a computer that the GPU doesn't work. The fucking wireless card doesn't work. It's in it's in Windows 8. It's not 8.1. It's Windows 8. Because they didn't, I'm gonna have to update this now tonight, because Windows 8 just doesn't work. The amount of frustration I feel over this is ridiculous. And through this whole thing, no one's been able to help me. The manager literally said the only thing that I can do to help you throughout this whole process is give you a discount on a computer that you don't need, that you're going to return anyway. Because I'm a college student. I don't have a lot of money. And I just had to quit my job because it wasn't for totally unrelated circumstances. So I don't have income coming in right now because I want to focus on school. I can't focus on school if I don't have a computer to work on. I am so dissatisfied with Geek Squad and Best Buy in general's customer service. It's insane. I have a ridiculous amount of patience. I'm a very, very patient person. And everyone I've talked to, I've been very polite with and very cordial. I haven't yelled at anyone. I haven't cursed at anyone. I haven't used profanity. I talk shit constantly, because that's what I do with my friends. We constantly curse at each other and say terrible jokes and stuff. I've been very cordial through this entire experience. And all I've gotten out of this is that if you ever want to buy a protection plan with Geek Squad, don't. Because I would rather, at this point, I would rather beat this in with a sledgehammer and just say, fuck it, and never buy anything with Geek Squad again, than have this repaired again for the fifth time, for the 5th time having this repaired. I mean, like, it's insanity. No one's contacted me. I've gone through multiple channels trying to just get some help here, and no one can help me. I just keep getting bounced around. I go into the Best Buy. They say call up 1-800-GEEK Squad. 1-800-GEEK Squad says we can't help you here at the call center. You have to go into the Best Buy. So it's like I go to Mom, and Mom says go to Dad, I can't help you. Dad says go to Mom, I can't help you. And then Mom's just like, fuck it, I can't do anything for you. I'm sorry. So at this point, I can't even form coherent sentences anymore. I'm so frustrated, it's beyond reason. This has been the worst experience I've ever had with any company ever, and I will never, unless someone sees this from, please, if anybody from corporate Best Buy sees this and wants to contact me, that would be great. Because I'm also going to post this on the Geek Squad support forums, because this has just been the worst experience ever. I really, like, I think that it's beyond ridiculous that I had to send my computer out twice and had it repaired 4 times in store. Really 5, because I had to take it in again today. Like, when I go into the store, I feel bad now. Like, I feel like I'm, like, disrupting what they're supposed to be doing. Like, and everybody that's worked there, like, most of them have been really, really nice. There's a couple of people that I can tell don't want to put up with my shit anymore, and they've been really, really rude. Like they're just straight up, they just talk like a robot. Like, sorry, I'm sorry, sir, there's nothing we can do anymore. And, like, that's all they'll say to me over and over while I'm trying to talk to them on a human level. And they just don't care. They don't want to talk to me. But there have been people, the manager of the Geek Squad has been extremely helpful. And he was the guy that gave me the discount. And, like, I can tell he cares. But it's like no one that I've taken this to has been able to help me. And at this point, all I want is a working computer. But I can't, like literally, because my plan ran out, right? I go in there today, and the guy's like, we can't repair this thing. We can send it out, but we're going to have to charge you. They don't want to charge me because they couldn't fix my computer. Like, I don't... Okay, this is just getting really ranty at this point, and I'm not going to edit this because I just don't care at this point. I just need to get this message out there. Maybe I'll do a follow-up on this with news, if news ever happens. But, like straight up, this has just been the worst experience ever. Like, I have a massive migraine now. I have to study for a test now. I had to take this in to get this stupid Netgear card so that I can connect to the internet at my school. You know, it's like... That's it. That's all I got. Yeah. Tell me what you think in the description if you think that this is hilarious and ridiculous. I think it's pretty hilarious and ridiculous. Yeah. Have a good one, guys. I hope your experiences with various stores are better than mine.